All right, beautiful people. We are joined. Well, it's actually not joined. It's his show, Straight Talk with DJ Hilson. How you doing today, DJ?
I'm doing fantastic, Paul. Good to see you as always, as
Um,
well as your sidekick, Big Ron.
The one and
We're
only.
joining him on his show, Paul.
Exactly. Yeah. DJ, I'm only here for a few minutes. I just wanted to say
I know
hello to you.
you got more important things to do. I appreciate that, and you got a private jet to catch. So,
Man, that's so
thank you
long.
for taking some time out of your busy day today.
It's gonna take me about 20 years, man. I gotta catch it. It's tough right now. Hey, let's dive right in because a lot of stuff been happening in the past 2 weeks since we talked
Yep.
over the weekend. Quite a few things happened in Muskegon Heights. Can you get us caught up on what's going on with the homicide that occurred up at Shell Mart?
Absolutely. We issued charges, I believe, either yesterday or today. So we issued a murder warrant, and I got it on my desk. I can run and get it because the last name is Wynn. First name is really kind of goofy that I don't have at the tip of my tongue, but certainly issued those murder charges. He was not apprehended that night, so we're actively looking for him. And we're working on probably issuing some more charges based on the involvement of some of the other individuals that were in the Shell Mart at the time that this shooting occurred. Very, very tragic situation again over what looked like to be something really. Well, I guess I don't know the totality of it, but this all started over a fist fight, and it ends up with somebody being killed and another person being shot in the abdomen. And really senseless violence, putting a lot of people at risk. But thankfully, law enforcement was quick to react. We were able to review a lot of really good video footage and start making some pretty early charging decisions.
Wow, a fist fight.
Yep.
And the loser probably went and got a gun.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't really talk about the circumstances, but let's just say a gun did end up in his hand.
All right.
I guess we just can't take a good old fashioned butt whooping anymore. I mean, if you're fighting, somebody got to win and somebody got to lose.
Yeah.
It don't usually come out in a draw. Even in professional fights, it don't usually come out in a draw. Somebody wins, somebody lose.
Yeah. Wow, DJ. Do you need any help from the community? Or is this case moving the way you feel it should be moving?
For the most part, yes. There is. I met with investigators on both these issues late yesterday afternoon, and there is one aspect that we may look and reach out to the community for. I'm letting the detectives kind of do some preliminary look, but certainly if we need help identifying at least one of the individuals, I'm going to certainly reach out to the community for that. And I'm waiting to kind of hear from my detectives on the direction they want to go there. But we have all but one person positively identified.
Wow. I'm sure they had cameras at the gas station anyway.
Oh, well, listen, I mean, unfortunately, the cameras are really good, and it captures the entire event.
Wow.
And it's again, it's tragic. Anytime, and for me, doing this for as long as I have, and the images and the things that I've seen over the years of my career, you just you get a little desensitized to it, but certainly every image is tragic, and this one is no different. The young man that lost his life didn't need to lose his life, really. I mean, there was nothing that first of all, starting this fist fight probably wasn't necessary. But again, I don't know the entire background between these two individuals, but obviously there was some animosity there. But again, we're talking about resolving conflict. And here again, we're seeing gun violence being the ultimate resolver. It's going to end. It certainly ends in the loss of this young man's life, but it's going to affect a few other young men's lives because they're going to get arrested eventually. They're going to get prosecuted, and more likely than not, they're going to prison.
Wow. Did two people get shot
Yes.
inside the Shell Mart?
Yes.
Was it two people like shooting at each other? Maybe. Was it
No. Again, without trying to give too many details away,
Right.
this was a one-on-one fight that turned into more people getting involved, and the other individual that was shot was what appears to be with the gentleman that was ultimately killed. In other words, they were there together.
Man, that's so terrible, man. It's terrible, terrible. And my condolences goes out to the Longmire family for the passing there. Okay. Then also Saturday night, Sunday morning, a police officer got shot at. Simple traffic stop. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that one, just like the one we just talked about, was equally, I guess, equally chilling. And this was a routine traffic stop. Somebody was speeding through a construction zone, got pulled over. As the officer gets out of his cruiser, this truck takes off, and so the pursuit is on. And during the pursuit, the officer is being fired at, and then ultimately gets fired at some more. And quite frankly, is now knowing what I know after yesterday, is very lucky to be alive. Extremely lucky to be alive.
How many rounds do you believe they fired at the officer?
Oh, at least my guess is we're in the double digits. 10, 15 rounds.
Wow. And it was a simple stop for going through road construction. I believe.
That's it.
Something you could have just paid the ticket for.
Well, I think, again, knowing what I know now, there are certain things in that vehicle that I'm sure these gentlemen didn't want to be found. And because of their criminal histories, made it more, I guess, the consequences more steep had they been found. And so they chose to flee, and then ultimately chose to, I guess, try to ultimately end this officer's life, which to me is, again, in the 20 plus years that I've been doing this, and we haven't had that many officer related shootings. This one probably is the most chilling, is the most, is something that I thought I would never see, especially here in Muskegon. And ultimately, is one that we're going to, like we do in all our shootings, take very seriously. In fact, in any officer related case, I personally handle it, and I'll be personally handling this one as well.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because you got to answer for anything that possibly could go wrong in prosecuting these cases and stuff. Whether it's you or somebody else, you have to answer for it.
Yep.
So I mean, I get that. Wow.
This was the second incident in Muskegon Heights in the past couple of years.
Yes. Yep. I handled the last one, that the officer that was shot in the projects. And again, now the Shell Mart and this incident are not related. There's no connection between the two. But if you remember, a couple of years ago, it was a shooting that took place at the Shell Mart during the day that ultimately led officers to the projects because they were told that's where one of the shooters was. And then that particular person shot at the police officers. He was just kind of going to ask questions, a routine investigation.
Well, we got a comment from Ghana. We also got a comment from Orlando, Florida. But Christian over in Ghana says, and I can relate to this. This doesn't happen here. If two guys got fighting, the onlookers come in to help separate the two. And I probably can ask him right now when the last time he have heard of a homicide in Ghana, a shooting in Ghana. When I was in Tanzania, one of the largest countries in Africa, I asked my host when the last time he had heard he knew. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, I said, when the last time you heard of a homicide in your country or in your city, they start scratching their head. It had been years.
Yeah.
For people that they knew, of course, you have domestic situations with knives, but gun violence, while they're starting to see increase in rifles and guns coming in through the border illegally because of the drug trade, but it doesn't happen. It bothers me. Like, what is so different about America that we see this increase in violence in the Black community? And so, getting ready for your show, I pulled up some stats, DJ, on the crime.
Yeah.
This was from 2020. The total you see represents the homicide overall.
Yeah.
And let me change that up here. That represents the homicides overall. The first number, 14,000, represent, let me see, I think that's the male. And then the second represents the female.
Okay.
And then we have the white population for homicides is 7,029.
That for the males, Paul?
No, that's the 7,029 is the total.
Okay.
The male is 5,123, and the female is 1,904. And the number that stood out to me is when I looked at the stats for Blacks, 9,913 homicides, 8,469 for Black male, and 1,441. When Black men only make up 7% of the population, they represented 55% of the homicides.
Right.
Wow.
That's the
numbers. It's these are areas that people a lot smarter than me probably do a lot more analysis, and I can't. It's hard to answer those questions and what's it related to. I mean, I know we've talked about this on this show quite a few times. Does it go back to the home environment? Does it is there something there that creates the opportunity or the attractiveness, for example, to the street gang? And I'm sure Big Rob can probably talk more about that than I can. Yeah. But you just look at, and is it related to opportunities, right? Are there enough opportunities or equal opportunities in those areas that give some positive options? There's a lot of different moving parts and dynamics that probably relate to those numbers, and it goes to show that in order to there are a lot of different things communities can do in order to try to reduce those numbers. And really, our communities focused in on that? Are they committed to that? And what are they doing in order to actually show some fruits of that? And those are beyond the scope of the office of the prosecutor for sure. Even though,
right,
I try to get involved in a lot of different community things. I try to keep my ears to the ground and stay connected to a lot of these different areas, because I truly believe that a lot of the things, this goes back to why I'm so strong when it comes to truancy, why I'm strong when it comes to providing employment opportunities to our young people of all ages and races, because I see a direct, in my opinion anyways, I see a direct connection to not doing that and the crime that can result from that. So I mean, there are a lot of things that folks I think can really start sinking their teeth into, so to speak, in order to look for some answers to some of those questions.
Wow. I think my last question before I take off and let Big Rob just take over is, elections coming up. Have you endorsed any candidates in these races? You got quite a few mayor race and city council race throughout the county.
I haven't been asked. I haven't been asked in a lot of those city elections for endorsements. I did very early on, probably about a year and a half ago. Andre Williams, I know he's running for re-election in the city of Muskegon Heights, had asked for an endorsement, and I provided him some material. I don't know if he's used it or not, But for the most part, I kind of try to stay out of that a little bit. That those seats are important because there's a trickle, I guess, up effect, if you will, as it relates to me, because the city councils control police departments or police chiefs, and I want to make sure that the citizens that I represent, which is all of Muskegon County, have adequate representation in their local law enforcement. And so I certainly try to support the chiefs in their efforts in that. And they have to deal with their city councils, so obviously there's importance, but
not even for the city of Muskegon mayor's race. None of them reached out to you.
No.
Wow.
No. Listen, that just goes to show you that I try. I'm a pretty humble guy, and I try to stay behind the curtain as much as I can, and maybe my name isn't as powerful as people think. Who knows? But
man, you are the top cop in Muskegon County. You're a Democrat. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I'm very Rob. You're not shocked?
I'm very shocked.
Like,
I know I would have asked if I was running. I'll never run for anything. But I would have asked, like, hey, this is my platform. Can you endorse me? You say no.
Yeah,
I deal with that.
I will say one of the other gentlemen running for Muskegon Heights City Council, and his name is escaping me.
Ronald Jenkins?
No. Well, I know Ron I know Ron. Ron's a great guy. I've known Ron for a lot of years. He's certainly dedicated to this community with what he's done with the Lake Hawks and how he really uses that team and its success to be a part of the community. So Ron's a great guy. I want to say, is there Mohammed?
Oh, Julius Muhammad.
Yeah, Julius Muhammad.
Yeah.
He reached out to me for a conversation. I talked to him on the phone for a little bit on some of the things that he wanted to do as it related to, getting involved in the community and certainly his position on how he could help stop some of this gun violence. And so we had a conversation, which was a great conversation. He sounded like a really intelligent guy as well. So, but besides those three, those are the only three that I've talked to.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
I don't get it. Okay. All righty. All right. I'm done.
All right.
I don't get it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm done. Thank you, Rob. Allow me to sit in. Thank you, DJ.
PA, as always, is a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again, my friend.
You too, DJ, man. Take care.
All right.
All right, DJ. You just also tried Pamela Harvey for was the charge premeditated murder, or that is what she ultimately got charged with?
The charge was open, the charge was open murder, which allows as prosecutors us to argue whatever theory of murder best fits the facts, whether it's first, second, or manslaughter. And so I argued to the jury that this was a first-degree premeditated murder case, and that's ultimately what they convicted her of just yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yesterday afternoon.
Right. At least that's what the other news outlets covered. And stuff. Wow. Was it a tough case, or?
Well, it was difficult and tough in the sense that the evidence. We had some really good pieces of evidence. We had a lot of pieces of good circumstantial evidence. So it was really, building a foundation, if you will, for the jury, so that they could see how everything kind of added, pointed in Miss Harvey's direction. And I had some pretty good DNA evidence. For those that don't remember this case, this happened in 2019. Bayview Towers. Unfortunately, he'd been bound with duct tape both on his wrists and ankles. He'd been stabbed about 188 times all throughout his body.
Wow.
And so, I had some really good physical evidence that there was some Miss Harvey's DNA profile was found on the inside part of the duct tape on both the wrist and the ankles. And, she had tried to establish an alibi right away in the investigation, and that alibi didn't pan out. The individual that she thought would be her alibi ended up, basically telling the truth. And he became a really important witness in my case. And so it was a lot of, I spent 4 days really on my case, Tuesday through Friday. We had defense case Monday morning, and then had closing arguments mid-morning into the early afternoon.
Wow. 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 What else is going on down at the prosecutor's office?
Well, we got, this has been a really busy week. So I finished my case on Monday afternoon, and Monday morning we started the Belcomb's Cove murder case. So that's do you recall, that was, I think, 2019 maybe, where a gentleman was shot at Belcomb's Cove, the condos there on the lake. And so that case got kicked off Monday morning. We have another trial starting tomorrow in Judge Hicks' courtroom. So this last week and a half or so has been really, really busy for us, trying to, obviously catch up on some of these old cases that we couldn't get to during the pandemic. And so a lot of my staff has been hustling. And, you add on top of that the events over the weekend. Going into, I had two of my lawyers working with police from late evening into the early morning hours on Sunday. I was here actually Sunday morning meeting with investigators. And so, it's just normal. That's just I wouldn't say normal. That's a little abnormal, but, it's what we do on top of all the other court responsibilities. And now I took my trial hat off. I got to put my elected official administrator hat back on, and I've got a series of meetings the rest of this week. And one of the biggest things that we've got going on right now is the Apportionment Commission. We're nearing the end of that, and that's the commission that is redrawing the county commissioner lines for Muskegon County. So it's myself, Clerk Waters, Treasurer Malaziotis, and then the Democratic chair, Ryan Bennett, and the Republican representative, Chris Kayala. And we've been meeting since this past summer. And ultimately, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be finalizing a vote on what the lines will look like for Muskegon County for the next 10 years.
Wow. Are you handling any of the upcoming cases that you just mentioned, the Bell Cove case or any of those?
No, well, no, that one started as I was finishing. So my chief trial, Matt Roberts, has been assigned to that case. He's trying that case, and one of my other assistants is trying the CSC case that starts tomorrow. So my trial days will kick off again. Like I said, I'm going to be personally involved in handling the shooting involving the officer, and so I'll be working with that until we get all the charges settled, and then ultimately I'll handle all the court cases resolved around that too.
Wow, you guys got a busy schedule. Yeah. Well, on a lighter note, DJ, are you guys doing the door things in your office this year for Christmas?
Oh, it's funny because I've got a lot of new staff who have never participated in the old door decorating contest.
You might win if you do it this year.
I mentioned it. I'm trying to remember how it came up, but I did mention because people were commenting on something, and I mentioned getting involved with the Christmas door decorating contest again this year, and I got, this was a familiar sound that you sometimes will play, but I got nothing but crickets. Um, so to answer your question, I don't know yet. I mean, certainly, if the boss says this is what we're doing, people will, I think, oblige. But that we'll be having another conversation about that maybe at our next staff meeting, as to what the people think. Because we're at a point now where folks are back in the building, and we can actually probably bring some visitors through.
Right.
By that time. But yeah, so it's not out of the water yet, there, Rob. But only time will tell.
Right. And this is an opportunity for, I mean, people see the prosecutor's office in a different light, and this is a time, if you've never seen the door decorating contest that they have down there, they actually take you through the prosecutor's office and you actually get a chance to look at the doors and vote on them, and it's a very fun time, because I know the time that I went and took a picture of every door, in there and stuff, the decorations on the door. Um, it was very interesting how your staff kind of pointed out certain doors. Like, now, whether they own that door or that was their office or not, I don't know. But your one assistant, oh God, he does the Star Wars. Is it Star Wars?
Oh yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
I know who you're
Now
talking
his door, I was highly impressed, and I didn't know he was such a fan of Star Wars.
Yes.
And it just blew me back. I'm like, wow, that's usually, but he's a true Star Wars fan.
Yes, and that's true with all the bobbleheads that he has.
Yes.
Like,
I didn't want to say what all he had in this, but yeah, he's a true fan for real.
There's no question that you don't have to ask what your favorite genre of movies is when you
it made me wonder how does his house look? If his office looks like that, what does his house have in? I can see a good 6 foot size whatever they call them things, soldiers and stuff like that, and
stormtroopers.
Yeah, stormtroopers and stuff. I can see that in his house.
Well, having been to his house before, he also really likes to collect Star Wars Legos.
Oh my God!
Put those together in display. So there just might be some Star Wars Legos displayed somewhere in his house.
Wow. Yeah, he's a true Star Wars fan. I didn't know people were out there for real like that. You see it on TV. Oh yeah, the Star Wars convention, and you got people dressing up and everything, Darth Vader, Princess Leia, all the rest of them and stuff. But I was like, ooh, I didn't know nobody that was that dedicated. He's very dedicated to Star Wars.
Very deep. Yes.
He can probably tell you some of everything from the book series to the movie series to the little cartoons they have on TV about it. It's just, it was very interesting. But it's a good pastime, though, keep your mind busy, especially doing Legos and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's a good thing. Do you all need any help in any other cases that we have not talked about? Because I know 3 or 4 cases, it would be nice if it was like that, but we know it's not. You got the, I think that's Muskegon County, the lady with the wolves, or isn't that Muskegon County? Y'all got to deal with that. But I thought that kind of stuff, exotic animals or whatever, was a federal law. But maybe you can explain that to me.
Yeah, no, that certainly Michigan has a specific area of the law dealing with certain animals. So in this particular instance, there is an act. I think it's called the Wolf Dog Act, which requires certain things to be in place in order for individuals to house or take care of this wolf dog species. And so, there are a couple of different things happening in this particular investigation and case, and had to deal with whether or not this person, the owner of this area, had the correct or the the necessary licenses and paperwork from the federal government in order to possess these animals. And then there was, certainly part of that investigation also went to the treatment, how those animals were being cared for and treated. And so that's part of that as well. And so what's really going on in the courts right now, there's two things. There's a criminal case, which is now up in circuit court, and the civil part of it is the forfeiture, which is part of this wolf dog statute. And what we're basically, we get the information, we get the complaints, and we're presenting it to the court and asking the court to make a decision as to whether or not this particular area or this business, if you will, is one, proper, and two, legal to maintain and take care of these animals.
Now, does Muskegon County have a lot of those types of cases where people have exotic animals like certain snakes and just exotic animals? I mean, you hear it all over the place, but in Michigan, somebody housing a lion that's not a zoo, or a African cat that's not a zoo, or do we have a lot of those cases where you have to go out and investigate that stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty rare. I'm trying to think of, outside of what we've been dealing with this particular business, whether I can't remember, at least off the top of my head, where we've dealt with somebody who's possessed something like a cheetah or a panther or a tiger or a lion or an alligator, crocodile. Folks, will have your boa constrictors or your pythons. There's nothing necessarily illegal with that. But yeah, I can't think of anybody that's owned or possessed something that they weren't supposed to, and there's been a complaint about it.
Because of course, I watch a lot of TV on the History Channel, and they catch people coming into the country through Border Patrol with these different birds and things of that nature, and it just kind of blows my mind. Why are you going to risk jail time to bring an animal in here? I mean, it seemed like everybody wants to get something for free and make money off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it on the head. It's pure greed, man. It's the almighty green.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, I was just curious about that since we were talking about it, the wolf stuff, and I just was blown back. I didn't even know there was a place outside of a zoo that could house these things. It's in the state of Michigan, let alone in Muskegon.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know we have a lot of wooded areas and woods and stuff, but Lord Jesus, I don't know if I would want a wolf. Them some big dogs.
Yeah, no, after kind of, being, having conversations about what was happening with these particular wolf dogs, there's no way on God's green earth that I would want one of those in my house.
I know that's right, DJ, because I've seen them things on, like I said, little shows I watch, and they ain't nothing to play with. That's like having a lion or a cheetah in your house. Yeah. Talking about it's a pet. I've seen fools, and I call them fools, in Dubai with lions as pets, and they're all in the bed and they rumbling with people that something clicking that thing head. Ain't too much you're gonna be able to do.
Nope, you become a snack.
Quick.
Real quick.
Now, how is Silent Observer doing? I wanted to bring that up because I know we got a meeting coming up on the 9th. I'm gonna try my best to make that meeting.
Make sure you set your alarm, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking my grandson. I'm going to school with my grandson now every morning, so I'm up usually now.
Oh,
so
okay.
Silent Observer, what's going on there?
No, things are going well. Obviously, we'll see how we are faring here when we meet and get the kind of the report as to the tips and what's going on there. But obviously, that program is still serving its purpose, and again, given the the events of this past weekend, and now I think emphasizes more than ever why that program is so important. Because as you know, and we've talked about over 100 times, I think, on
Yeah.
my show. It's the information that really helps move investigations forward, and that's the important thing that we as investigators need and want. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, put your name on a police report or, directly talk to an officer. You can provide that information anonymously, and certainly
Right.
when there's reward money, and typically in major cases, there is reward money that you can receive that if your information proves to be fruitful. And again, it's by a number. It's not by a name. It's by a number. And so, I continue to encourage people, as I know you do, to utilize that service, because the 72 crime number still exists, but we also have we're up on modern technology with the internet and an app, and all that exists, and it all remains anonymous.
And you can upload if you have video content. Also, if I'm correct on that,
Yes, you can.
DJ, you keep more up on it than I do, and and I feel bad about that. Just 8 o'clock meetings sometimes be getting me, but uh you can upload video if you have video
Yes, you
of
can.
incidents, and you still remain anonymous, and
Yep.
they don't get your number. And I know it sounds a little wacky, people. I get it. I trust me, I get it more than anybody, but it's truly anonymous. They don't even care who you are, especially if you have the information on video. Well, 72 crime, I don't know what it is to text or whatever and stuff, but I'll get that information when I go this next month to make sure I can talk about it, you know, legitimately and don't sound like an idiot doing it.
No, I mean, I think if you go through the online portal, you do have the ability to upload video. You have the ability to upload photographs. There's a lot of different methods that, again, gives citizens the opportunity to provide valuable and important information to law enforcement without an officer knocking on your door, or you talking to an officer at your door. You can do it from the comfort of your home or anywhere else, and remain completely anonymous.
Now, DJ, in a lot of these cases and stuff that we see on TV with police wearing body cams now, and everybody has a camera phone in their pocket or on their home or on their business, because that's the eyes that keep an eye on your valuables or your business 24 hours a day, and it never really goes to sleep unless power goes out. So how important is video and body cams for police?
Well, really important. Let's just reference the incident that occurred on Saturday night with the officer, and I've had a chance to watch his body cam footage of that event, and certainly it gives perspective to what was going on during that incident, and you get, you get everything. And again, there, as once we are able to get into the courtroom and play it, we can have more conversation about it. But there are some really just life moments being expressed on that body cam. It's pretty compelling stuff, and certainly, from a perspective of transparency as it relates to how officers conduct themselves on traffic stops or interacting with citizens. That body cam footage is extremely important. Because just like any other profession, people are going to complain about how they were treated, and that's, I think that's important. That's right. That's the way it should be. And what's nice is that supervisors can now go back and review footage and see for themselves, in not real time, but certainly how it kind of unfolded, and make determinations as to whether or not discipline is warranted, or maybe the complaint is unfounded. And so I think when you talk to police officers, they want, even though it's another piece of equipment they got to put on their body every day, they want that security, so that when they're making those split-second decisions, somebody can go back and look and see, okay, this is what the officer saw, and this is how they reacted, and was the reaction appropriate based on what they were observing and perceiving at the time of the incident. To me, it takes, in some respects, it takes some of the guesswork out, where it's the he said, or he said, she said type situation. You have that footage to help, and it's not perfect. It's not. It depends on officer body position and all that kind of stuff, and so it's not a perfect solution, but it's going to end up being more beneficial than it is harmful, for sure.
Because I know there's a lot of everything that has happened from the George Floyd case to the Ahmaud Arbery case to a lot of video footage was there, and the young lady recorded for like 9-10 minutes whatever and stuff at the George Floyd case, and there was just so much video. How heavy do the prosecutor's office put, how much weight, I should say, does the prosecutor's office, when they're deciding charges against a citizen, police officer, whatever, do they put on video evidence?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it depends on the quality. Quality of video is important. What can you see? What can't you see? What characteristics can you make out? What can't you make out? For example, in this murder trial I just had, we had a lot of really good video of Miss Harvey. Even though she was in a disguise, arriving on the scene and where she went. Video of the fact that nobody else entered or exited that apartment after she had entered it. Video of her leaving, and you know, I had a trail, if you will, of watching her walk, going back to her cousin's house, in between the jail and a couple of local businesses. We had a good video trail of her walking in the direction of her cousin's house, and that became a critical part of the case. And so, again, video is nice. We try to temper expectations from a juror perspective. That a lot of times jurors, when they hear about the potential of video, they're hoping that it's going to basically, answer all the questions for them, and it doesn't. Because again, you're relying on a lot of different things. How far away is the camera? What is it capturing? Is it black and white? Is it infrared? I mean, I learned something over the weekend that I didn't know, but infrared or night vision security cameras will change the color of clothing. For example, if you're wearing something dark, if you're wearing something dark, night vision on the camera makes it look light. And so you get all those dynamics as well. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I've come to appreciate folks and their security cameras. I've come to really appreciate Ring doorbell cameras. Those have been something else. And it's been true for a couple of cases that I've worked on, where Ring doorbell cameras have really shown a lot. And so, in this day and age, when that technology is relatively inexpensive, doesn't take a brain surgeon to install it. If I can install my security system, then anybody can install a security system. So, I mean, it really, the fact that we have that technology and now are able to, before, where it was, we were lucky if we ran into a house or a business that had cameras. Now we're surprised when they don't have that.
Right.
And that's a different dynamic.
And that's why I asked the question, because I know a lot of people now have cameras on their homes. They've got, just cameras everywhere, just recording. And you know, I know that can be, like you said, a piece of important evidence as to what's what. Now, is all of Muskegon, well, I shouldn't ask all Muskegon, is Muskegon and the sheriff's and the Muskegon Sheriff's Department, do they have their body cams as of yet? Because I know they were working on that. Are they active now?
As
Do you
far
know?
as I know, the city of Muskegon definitely has body cameras. And I know the sheriff. I know for sure the jail folks have body cameras, and I think the deputies do. I know they just recently got a grant to purchase a bunch of cameras in the system that goes with it. I'm trying to think if I've seen a deputy lately, but yeah, I know for sure the city of Muskegon has body cameras, and I think the sheriff's department does now too.
Well, that's good. I mean, it keeps it should keep everybody honest. You know,
Absolutely.
there goes the days of officers saying, "Well, I didn't say that or I didn't do that," but it also goes towards the citizen. You know,
Yep.
because I've been in a room and with 20 people and we all saw something different. You know, whether it was a little bit different or a whole lot different. You know, so I think it just keeps everybody honest, and
Absolutely.
that's the beauty to me of the body cams for the police officers. That's the beauty of body cams for the citizens. Also, if they say they were mistreated, then there's your proof. You know, the officer can't lie, you can't lie.
Yep.
You know, you may have, you know, did anything and stuff like that, or the officer may have done anything. So I think that's a beautiful thing. I think now we need to get citizens equipped with body cams. I'm gonna start wearing one now.
Everybody. Well, you can. I just recently stumbled across this, but there are quite a few companies that you can, in fact, buy dash cams for your cars now.
But you can't have anything on your dash unless you're a police vehicle.
No,
Well, you could.
no. I mean, I think. Look, if you look at, if you look at some of the newer cars that are coming out and all the electronics that are now, tied to cars and the sensors in the back even if you look at some of the things that are now part of a rear view rear view mirror, the
Right.
housings and whatnot, that
Right.
whatever the radar, whatever they're, I mean, there's a lot of different things now on cars, and quite honestly, the addition of a small dash cam on your dashboard isn't, in my opinion, an obstruction that would fall within that particular law.
I'm going to get one tomorrow then.
Hey, listen, buddy, you do that because I think that Muskegon wants to know a day in the life of Big Rock.
Yeah, they might want to know that. Now, how are we looking? Did you get the crime number stats yet? For this year's, last year,
Past year,
Yeah.
I'll have to see. My chief assistant is my numbers guy, and
Okay.
he's the one that gathers that. So I'll have to get with him and see where, if we've had any. I know we sometimes will get the preliminary numbers in early spring, and I'll have to see if we've gotten a chance to take a look at those and see. But I do know, that there weren't any, to my memory, there weren't any like big spikes. We either maintained status quo or we were down in some areas. So, but I will get with him and get the numbers, because they're now available. If you go to the Michigan State Police website, you can look at any county in the state of Michigan and look at their crime stats.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's why it's good to have lawyer friends.
Absolutely.
A very wise man told me that one day. But what else are you concerned with as far as crime in Muskegon. I know we had the officer shooting, we had the two people homicides. What about domestics? Are we up, down? Do you remember how we looking?
Yeah, typically, we remain relatively steady with those. Obviously with what happened in 2020 as it relates to a lot of shutdowns and quarantines, I'll be interested to see if our numbers are drastically different than a non-COVID year or non-pandemic year, I should say. And so that's an area that I'd like to take a peek at. And I guess I don't have the answer off the top of my head right now. Nothing stands out that we had a larger year. I will say that one of the additions that I brought to my office, which has really been a great addition, is a specific task force dedicated and geared towards violence against women, where I've got 2 dedicated prosecutors and 4 investigators working on those cases. And it's really panned out. We've been able to do a lot more specific looks at whether they take an original case or they're assisting an agency here in Muskegon County. We've added some additional additional resources that have been helping us not only investigate but make sure that our victims are safe and that bond conditions are being followed. And so this is a unit that I'm really proud of, and I know the state of Michigan has given us really high marks, high kudos. We just in fact had a big audit of that group, and we had high marks as a result. And so it's just another service that thankfully we were able to find some grant money for. We applied, we were successful, and we've been showing some good results that hopefully will keep that unit intact for quite some time.
Well, I've been dreading this moment.
Yeah.
And that's why you start laughing. You know where I'm going. Yeah. Let's talk a little football.
You sure?
I with you, I have no other choice. We've been doing this for all these years you've been on here. Football is towards the end, unless the Lions won.
Let's do this. Well, I won't listen. We won't bore the audience with your continued allegiance to a team that very well could go 0-17 this year. We won't talk about that.
Very well.
We won't talk about the championship quality football that comes out of the state of Wisconsin. We won't talk about that. We can talk. Let's talk the local area high school football, because those playoffs.
I have to let them have it, Lions fans. I gotta let them have this one because we suck big time.
Look, I mean,
we suck.
I've talked to a lot of Lions fans over the last several months. Some good friends that are dedicated, diehard Lions fans, and they see lemonade here in these lemons. They're seeing some potential, and I keep reminding them that certainly they are always welcome to cross over, and we as loyal Packer fans fully embrace all different types of people.
I know when the Lions are not playing, I always watch Green Bay when I can. They don't always have it on the channels here, and sometimes you got to go online and really do some research. But Green Bay, they kind of on the fence for this year. What's going on with that?
Well, let's start with their record. I think it's 6-1. Last time I checked, I think. Because last time, listen, unless the rules have changed, the last time that I watched a football game, at the end of the game, if you won, is there anything more that you really need to do?
Are they Super Bowl ready?
Well, I mean, look, they're suffering a little bit of the injury bug. They're suffering. They're missing some key pieces on defense, and it looks like they they may be missing a very key piece on offense for Thursday night football. If Devontae Adams is on the old COVID list or protocol, whatever, he may be out for Thursday, and that would be very devastating for the Packers if they don't have him on the field. But we still have number 12, and somehow he always manages to find a way to find some magic. So, well, only time will tell.
You are absolutely right about that. I hope, since the Lions definitely ain't going to the Super Bowl unless I don't even think they can even do it anymore. But if Green Bay makes it, I will be rooting for Green Bay. I don't care who they play. They're not playing the Lions, so I won't have no other choice. Now, college, I watched a lot of Notre Dame football because of you.
Okay.
What's going on with Notre Dame?
Listen, they are hot and cold, man. They are hot and cold. It looked like maybe they were going to start off, gangbusters, and now, they're hot and cold, and a lot of it has to do with, obviously they don't belong to a conference. They're playing their traditional games. I know they just beat USC, I think, over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Which is, it's not a signature win, but obviously, it's a win. Yeah, I mean, ultimately they're not going to end up in the the bowl playoffs. They won't. I think they're probably not going to get there. They'll end up in a decent bowl because Notre Dame travels well. They'll bring a lot of fans, which means wherever they play, that city and that stadium will get a lot of money. But yeah, it'll be another probably ho-hum year for them. And really the question becomes, how long does Brian Kelly last there?
Yeah.
He's been there for a while, and they I think the one and only time they made it to the championship game in his tenure, they got absolutely destroyed and manhandled by Alabama. And so, we'll just see.
Now the Michigan State game is coming up. Who you got?
Know, big game this weekend, man. I mean,
you can't get on either side because you got people in your office on both sides, right?
I do, but I have no allegiance to either team. I really, I hope it's a good game. If I were favoring one over the other, I probably would favor Michigan State. I'm not a big Jim Harbaugh fan. I'm really not a big Michigan fan. He kind of drives me crazy a little bit. And so, if they lost, I wouldn't cry. So yeah, I mean, we got that it'll be a fun game to watch. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it's a noon game, which is nice. It's early.
Yep.
So sit down and really get a chance to watch that.
Yeah. Now locally, I think, don't quote me on this, Muskegon, I think all of the high schools are at least in the playoffs except for Reese Puffer. I don't remember hearing anything about Reese Puffer.
No, I guess one of the teams I'm really excited for is the Heights Tigers. I mean, I didn't realize this, but I thought I heard somebody say something that they had never won a playoff game in football. Is that right?
As I can remember listening to PA and them, they never won a playoff game. But I may be wrong. I'm not a Heights, historian. So
I can't remember where I heard that, but that's really exciting for that program. I got a chance they played Muskegon Catholic 1st of October. That young quarterback can throw the football. Holy moly. And he can throw it with some accuracy. And obviously they've got speed. So, I mean, I'm certainly pulling for all our Muskegon teams, pulling for the Muskegon Heights and certainly Muskegon and Mona Shores, and obviously where my kids go to school, Muskegon Catholic. They got a game this Friday. There's a big game. I think it's Ravenna and North Muskegon, so two local teams. And so we're getting some clarification.
Getting some clarification right there. CJ Levelston Walker They've
Thank
never
you for
won
that.
a playoff game and never hosted a playoff game.
So they get.
Thank you for that information.
Yeah, I know they're hosting, and I'm looking. I'm rooting for them because, like I said, got a chance to watch those kids play, and wow, I was really impressed with the talent they have at the skill positions. Man, I tell you what a celebration for that school and that city if they can pull off the win this weekend
Yeah,
and move on.
absolutely.
So that would be fantastic. A
Absolutely.
great boost for that program. So obviously, good luck to all the area football teams. I mean, this is the exciting part, and really, West Michigan is in particular. Muskegon has really represented well at the state finals
Yes.
over the last few years.
Yes.
And I hope we're able to maintain that. I go back to one of my early days starting to follow high school football where we had was it 4 or 5 teams in the state. We had almost all the divisions covered for state football, and that was quite a year for Muskegon.
Yes.
Muskegon area football teams, and so it's always listen. I beam with pride when we are well represented at that level.
Absolutely. Well, DJ, that's our time. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Once again, you've been committed to this, and we appreciate it. I try to tell you that all the time. They say give people their flowers while they're alive, because when they're dead, they can't smell their roses. So I thank you. Paul thanks you. This radio station thanks you. You don't make it hard for us. You make it very easy. And again, thank you so much for doing this show.
You're welcome. Listen, I love it. I love hanging with you guys. It's been a great opportunity, and I really appreciate certainly the different formats that we've done and the platforms we've done, and you guys have been nothing but supportive, and obviously we deal with the tough issues and don't shy away from the tough questions, and to me that's important. And so, as always, it's great to be a part of something special like this, and I love the exchange of conversation with the citizens of Muskegon County. So, as long as I'm here, man, we're going to continue to do this. So I look forward to many more years, my friend.
Well, thank you, DJ. We'll see you in 2 more weeks.
Sounds good.
All right.